Rockingham County. My name is Larry Drake. I'm the chairperson of the Rockingham County Democratic Committee. It's a pleasure to see you all here. It's great to be here with our 11 great candidates. And I want to say to all the candidates, thank you very much for running. I know you're all putting everything you have into it. I know it's not easy, but we appreciate it. Thank you very much. I want to make a few quick announcements about some upcoming events that the Rockingham County Dems are doing. Next Wednesday, August 8th, at the Exeter Inn at 7 p.m., we will have the last of our Wednesday speaker series featuring the Democratic congressional candidates. 10 of the 11 candidates have been in the, have each had an evening to themselves, and William Martin will be the last candidate on Wednesday. We're going to have 3 campaign office openings coming up. Londonderry will be Saturday, August 4th at 6 p.m. Salem, Tuesday, August 7th at 6 p.m. and Raymond, Wednesday, August 15th at 6 p.m. We're opening a total of 7 campaign offices in Rockingham County. If we want to win big in November. Finally, the last announcement is on Monday, August 13th at 7 p.m. at the Exeter Inn, we will have our monthly meeting, and we're going to be talking about door-to-door canvassing, the key to our success in November. So you're all invited to that. That should be pretty interesting. I think all of you know how important this election is. I know it's certainly the most important midterm election of our lives. Maybe it's the most important election, period. I fear for our country if the Democrats don't take back at least one house of the Congress. So as Democrats, we need to rise to the occasion. We need to do our best to win these elections. And, you know, I do want to say, on the primary is on September 11th. On September 12th, we all need to close ranks behind our candidates. Whoever they are, we need to close ranks behind them. There's only 2 months until the general election. We absolutely must win the general election. So we don't have the luxury of continuing personal feuds or nursing personal hurts or applying ideological litmus tests. We all have to come together. I come out of the labor movement. The most important concept there is solidarity, where it's one for all for one, and you put aside your petty differences to unite against the common enemy. That's what we need to do on September 12th. The whole country is depending on us. The whole world is depending on us. Let's get this done. Thank you very much.
Good evening. For those of you who do not know, I'm Ray Buckley, the chair of the New Hampshire Democratic Party. And I'd like to ask everyone to... And I noticed that our vice chair is in the audience, and our full talk from Portsmouth. Should everyone rise and do the Pledge of Allegiance? The New Hampshire Democratic Party stands firm in our belief that any form of sexual harassment, sexual assault, or domestic violence is completely unacceptable behavior, let alone for anyone, let alone our public officials, who should be held to a higher standard. We take these accusations against Senator Jeff Woodburn very seriously and stand with his accuser and support her during this So welcome to the Rockingham County 1st District Forum. And we're thrilled that you are here tonight along with the members of the Rockingham County Democratic Committee. Let's give them a big round of applause. And we certainly welcome the members of the media and our state party staff. Let's give them Amy Kennedy, our Executive Director, Alan Rabb, our Deputy Executive Director, Adrian Marengo, Political Director, Sarah Guggenheimer, our Deputy Communications Director, Ethan Quinn, the Communications Shop, and Ethan Morehouse, our Deputy Operations Director. So let's give them all a big round of applause. Thank you for attending, and obviously, we all at every opportunity should make sure that we acknowledge and respect the past 12 years of work that Carol Shea-Porter put forth representing the 1st Congressional District. She did it with class and with style and with dignity, and she fought just as she did said in 2005 every single day for the 99% of the rest of us. And so let's give Carol a big round of applause. We're excited to have all 11 fantastic candidates running for the 1st Congressional District in this cycle. Here tonight, we are 40 days out from the primary election, and it is critically important in New Hampshire and across the country to keep this district blue. I know I can count on everyone in this room that whoever wins the primary on September 11th, that we will join together in support of our Democratic nominee. So these are the important dates. Tuesday, September 11th, make sure that you get out and vote. Tuesday, November 6th, make sure not only that you get out and vote, but every single human being that you know gets out and vote as well. The turnout in an off year is dreadfully low. The folks in this room alone could have an impact on who wins this congressional district if you actually take seriously about reaching out to your friends and your neighbors and your members of your family. So and also, Thursday, September 13th at the Deerfield Restaurant is our Unity Breakfast that will be held 2 days after the primary. You're certainly welcome. There will be more information on the website at NHDP.org in the coming days. Now on to the forum and the format. If you've not already turned in your written questions, please hold them up for NHDP staff to collect. And each candidate will have 2 minutes for an opening statement. They drew. It says 2 minutes. Okay. 3 minutes. They drew names in advance of speaking order. Questions will be reviewed by the NHDP staff as to that a variety of issues can be addressed, and as to be as fair as possible to all candidates, make sure that everyone gets to answer a question. Candidates have 1 minute to answer a question. Candidates wishing to comment on another candidate's response should raise their hands to be acknowledged by me. A response is limited to 1 minute, and NHDP staff will make sure that equal time is given to all candidates by the end of the forum. When the time for questions ends, candidates will be given 1 minute closing statements. Or is that incorrect? Now it's 2 minutes. Okay. We hear agree. Closing statements in reverse order of opening statements. Let us now get started with the opening statements. And first up, we will start with the person who drew number 1, Paul Carter. Make sure you turn on the microphone and pass it.
Mic check 1, 2.
Yeah.
Well, incorrect. I'll try and make it 2:20 so you guys don't have time left. I'm Paul Carter. I want to thank all of you for being here tonight, for taking time in your lives to support the party, spread the good word, and like Ray and I both spoke to, make sure that we're holding this seat in the general. It's obviously crucially important this year that we continue to kind of spread the Democratic message and stay united. A lot of of us are running for this race. I'm sure some of you have had a chance to meet some of us or talk to some of us, but if you haven't met me, I want to tell you a little bit about myself. I was born and raised in the Granite State. I attended our public schools, went to college in Manchester, worked odd jobs, restaurants, retail, right here in the state in my 20s to kind of get by. I was raised by a single mother, spent 29 years working for the police department. I now work with schools in the area. I travel around New England, talking to schools, to students, to teachers, to educational leaders, helping them figure out ways to innovate schools' technology to improve efficiency and curriculum delivery and provide better education for our future generations. I, like many people in this room, spend most of my time trying to balance it between work and spending time with my friends and family and getting involved in the community. And for too long, I've waited for representatives in our government with the same concerns and aspirations as citizens. For representatives in Congress who actually represent the people of New Hampshire. So that's a little bit about me. And as I mentioned before, I really thank you all for your time here. But I want to implore you to do a little bit more. We're not having any debates in this primary, and part of the purpose of a primary is not just to hear how much we agree on a lot of things, but also to make sure you guys are getting the information you can get on each individual candidate to see how close they align with their own. So I urge you to think about specific issues and make sure you're putting the candidates to the test with the issues that you want to learn more about. For instance, if political experience is something that's really important to you, I'm probably not your candidate. Don't have any of that. If campaign finance reform is important to you, there's some candidates in the stage who have raised an absurd amount of money in this race and find out if campaign finance reform is important to them. If having a single-payer healthcare solution or Medicare for all solution is important to you, make sure you find out if all the candidates in the stage feel the same way. If you think it's important that the representative from New Hampshire has spent a significant amount of time living in New Hampshire, make sure you find that out about our candidates. We have a job to do, and that job is to make sure that we're finding a candidate not just most palatable to the Democratic Party. We're all going to support whoever wins this primary, but making sure we're finding a candidate that's palatable to the undeclared. This is a 30% Republican, 30% Democrat, 40% undeclared district. It's rated R+2. And if we're finding candidates that are gravitating towards the middle to try and make everybody happy, or pushing themselves so far left that they're alienating people in the middle, we're going to fail again this November. So find folks that can bring a progressive message. I am progressive as hell. And explain to people in the middle that progress is what this country is built on, and we're not going to shy away from it.
Let me thank everybody for coming out. This is an enormously consequential election. We have a real opportunity to defeat the Republicans in 2018 and take back the House of Representatives, as well as defeat the pathological liar in Donald Trump, who couldn't find the truth even if he was armed with a GPS. However, that's not good enough. We have to talk about why it is folks should vote for us. As Ray talks about, we're probably going to have about 10%, 1 in 10 folks who are going to vote in this election. That is an embarrassment. We need to get as many people as possible to get excited and involved in the Democratic process. But to do that, we need to have the strongest possible candidate we can have in this election. And that means we need to have very serious and substantive debates. At the present time, the New Hampshire Democratic Party will not hold one debate, not one debate whatsoever. That is antithetical to democracy. Second, if you can actually believe this, the New Hampshire Democratic Party is charging $37,500 for a voter checklist. That is obscene. When I talk to people throughout this great state in District 1, the number one issue that people are concerned about is the issue of health care. Health care is a right. We need to have Medicare for all that guarantees health care to every man, woman, and child without out-of-pocket expenses. We need to have a system which says that dental care is a right. We need to say loudly and clearly that seniors matter. Right now, if seniors are under the Medicare system, they do not have the ability to get glasses, vision tests, dental care, hearing aids, and that needs to stop. So right now, we have a great opportunity. 63% of the American public believes in a Medicare for all health care system. A significant amount of senators do, as well as the fact that we have 122 members to the House of Representatives, as well as so many folks who are running for president in 2020. And yet Chris Pappas and Maura Sullivan do not. That is unacceptable. Thank you very much.
Terrence O'Rourke.
This is the first time I've told this in public, so bear with me. April 2007, I was 10 months into a year-long deployment as an operational advisor to an Iraqi infantry battalion. I planned a mission to a place called El Camp Village, just outside of Camp Taji, which is a little bit north of Baghdad. We had been in El Camp Village about 3 months before that, because a lot of IEDs have been going off outside there, a lot of sniper attacks, a lot of pot shots being taken at coalition troops. So when we cleared it, but just like everything else we did in Iraq, we didn't hold the land, we didn't do anything. So 3 months later, 4 months later, same thing's happening again. So I planned this mission. We're going to go and clear this village. Being a good military planner, El Camp Village looks like a square. So it's got a main road out front, a parallel dirt road around back, and then 2 perpendicular dirt roads. So I had 2 American Humvees and the 2 points in the front, and then 2 Iraqi Humvees and the 2 points back, the crossroads. They all had vision on each other, they all had overwatch on us. And we had 2 on-ground forces, one led by myself, one led by Lieutenant Colonel Mike Stocks. So we entered into the village, about 2 hours in, we're not seeing anything, we're not finding anything. Then I hear the biggest explosion I heard in my entire deployment. I look off what would be the northeast corner, I see smoke rising. Me and my guys, we take off towards where we heard the explosion coming from. When we got through to a clearing, where the perpendicular dirt road is, we start to take fire. We get behind the civilian passenger vehicle, we begin to return fire with small arms fire. Sergeant Terry Cornwell to my left uses a 249, starts launching some grenades at him. I'm on the phone calling in the Humvee from down the road, and they come up the road, ripping off 50 cal rounds. Once the resistance was no longer there, we made our way to where we saw the smoke. And the Humvee that those Iraqis are in was completely destroyed. This strong, stable vehicle made right here in America looked like a little accordion, flopping in the wind. The 3 men inside were all killed. The driver had about half of his body left. The passenger, the bottom half of his body was in the vehicle, the rest was out. And the gunner was completely destroyed. My medic, Sergeant Garcia, hands me a body bag and he says, "Sir, these are your soldiers. Time to bring them home." We spent the next 20 minutes doing the best we could to pick up what was left of these fellas. And then we drove on with the mission. Those men were killed because our country launched an unprovoked attack on their country. Those men were killed because a guy named General Petraeus decided it was time to surge. Those men were killed because I put them there. And that's why I'm here. I never want another American to have to know that there are 3 places at a dinner table that will be empty forever. That there are 3 mothers who will never get to hug their children again. 3 mothers who will never get to look in their child's eyes again. And never have America go to war and kill 1 million innocent people because we can't control ourselves domestically. If you believe in peace and you want to end these wars, vote for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Hampshire.
Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Rocky and Democrats. It's great to see everybody here tonight. You're going to hear a lot of what's and a lot of hows, so I thought I'd start off with why. Why am I? I'm running because I'm a husband, and I get to wake up next to my best friend each and every day. But 4 months after we got married, I woke up to find she couldn't feel her arms or her legs, and we had to go to the hospital. And we had to come up with a credit card payment of $5,000 right out of the gates. I do not think that is a fair system in this country. I do not think that is a moral system, and that's why I believe we need Medicare for all in this country now. But it's not just a moral argument, it's a business argument. We have to understand that if we want to get Republicans and independents on our side. Number 2, I am running because I'm a father. And that's the best job that I have and the one that I try to do the best. And I'm lucky because I I get to raise my daughter in the same neighborhood that I grew up in as a kid. In fact, we live right across from the street from the house that my grandfather built, my dad grew up in. And that's awesome. That sense of community is amazing, and I am so happy that she gets to go to New Franklin Elementary School just like I did. But what terrifies me is she's going to know something that I never had to learn, and that's where to hide in case of an active shooter. And that breaks my heart that she's going to come home one day and tell me exactly where to hide. And we have to do everything in our power to stop that. We have to ban AR-15s, we have to ban bump stocks, we have to ban high-capacity magazines, and we need a background check, not just on guns, but on bullets, if we want to make sure that our kids are safe. Finally, I am running because I work in technology, and I understand that we're not doing near enough for the future that's coming down our path. We're not doing enough to meet the demands of automation that some say are going to take away 50% of jobs in the next 30 years. We need to focus on education now, and we need to make sure that every kid can graduate high school with the ability to code so that they can meet those jobs. But also, my background in technology shows me that we need to understand what automation is not going to take away, and those are the jobs of the trades, and we need to double down on making sure that those jobs are available to more people in this country and in this state. And finally, I'm the candidate that's talking about the future. A future where getting sick doesn't mean you go bankrupt. A future where we're teaching our kids how to code, how to build, how to dream again, and not where to hide. And a future where we have a functioning government. A government that meets the threats of global warming and automation head on. And if you believe in that kind of future, if you believe in a government that is slightly more fair, slightly more just, and slightly more equitable than the one we have today, then I need your voice and I need your support. Because only when we bring our voices together and down to Washington can we start to build the government and the country that we will all be proud of. Thank you very much.
Mark McKenzie.
Warren Bennett said that leadership is the capacity to translate reality of visions into reality. That's a way that you look at the world and what our hopes and dreams are and our capacity to change the world and to shape the world in a way that we want the world to look. Now, my whole life, more than 44 years, has been about leadership. It's been about answering the calls of many, many people, asking how do we change the situation that we are in. And I've done that over and over again, translated your dreams and your visions into reality. In the New Hampshire legislature, where I worked for a number of years as a representative of the AFL-CIO, these are the chapters of the law that deal with labor. And if you spin through that book sometime, much of what's been done in the last 25 or 30 years, I've had something to do with that. And I'm proud of that, because it's made your life and my life and my children's life better. And now I present myself to you as a person who has stood on the field, in the trenches, fighting for the interests of people. Fighting for the working family. And let me say what I stand for. Health care for all, universal health care, no exceptions, mental health, and dental insurance for all. I want a system that doesn't lock people from the immigration community out, but rather unites them with their families. I want a system that allows people to go to college and not be saddled with debt when we leave. I want a system that is able to accommodate this idea of guaranteed jobs for this country. If you want a job and you want to work, the federal government should provide that opportunity. And not lousy jobs, but good jobs that pay decent salary. I want a world in which my children and my children's children can grow up in an environment that is clean, in a country that is clean and committed to ending global warming and capping fuel in this country. I want a world that is about solidarity and about what we care about. And let me say this. Bernie Sanders said a couple of times, when he was asked about being a democratic socialist, and I am a democratic socialist, what he said was for those people who are at the top of the agenda, they don't have to worry. They are democratic socialists who fashion this country in their own design. Those of us who are the 99%, we are the rugged individuals who are on our own in this government, and it should not be that way. We can do better. Thank you.
Mayor Andrews.
Good evening. My name is Naomi Andrews. Thank you, Larry and the Rockingham County Dems, and Ray and the NHDP for hosting tonight's forum. Grady D always said, democracy is not something we have, it's something we do. So thank you all for being here tonight and doing democracy. We're in my county tonight. I grew up just down the road in Epping. I graduated from Epping High School and went on to become a first-generation college graduate. For the past 11 years, I've served this district as Congresswoman Carol Shea Porter's Chief of Staff, and I was her campaign manager for those 2 winning comeback campaigns. I have been living and breathing the issues of the First District for over a decade, and I ultimately decided to run because I love working for and fighting for the people of New Hampshire. I believe the people in this district want someone in Congress who gets it, knows what it's like, and will work every day for them and their families. They want someone who will stand up for them, and if you give me the great honor of serving you in Washington, I pledge to do that every day. I'm also very proud and honored to have received Carol's endorsement to win this seat. I am a proud activist, and I've been walking the walk for a long time. Carol and I practiced campaign finance reform since the very beginning, long before Citizens United. People, especially in Washington, thought we were crazy. They said, why are you going to show up to a fight with an arm tied behind your back? And we said it's the right thing to do. Policies should be made by people with the biggest ideas, not the biggest checks. I know every inch of this district because of my work in the Congressional office and on the campaigns, but I also know this beautiful state because of my deep love for the outdoors. My father, brother, and I have hiked all 48 4,000-foot mountains in New Hampshire, and I ski, hike, kayak, and camp throughout the district. I take full advantage of our beautiful state. My parents instilled in me a strong work ethic. They both work hard, blue-collar jobs. They work through hard work and sacrifice. My brother, sister, and I all got through college. Although we have student loans, we're better off than our parents are. And that's the American dream. Work hard, play by the rules, and your kids or the next generation will have more opportunity. But these are troubling times. And should you give me the privilege of representing you, you have my commitment that I will not stay silent. I will show courage in Washington. I will stand up against the executive branch abuse and fight to restore America's good standing in the world. And I will fight for every American's right to a piece of the American dream. I have the experience, the enthusiasm, and the courage to serve the people of this district that I love so much. I look forward to our conversation this evening, and I hope to earn your trust and your vote on primary day, September 11th. Thank you.
I'm the grandson of an immigrant. And unless you're Native or African American, you're here because of immigrants. But I'm also the grandfather of an immigrant. 100 years after my grandparents settled in Somersworth, a West African teenager fleeing death and persecution sought asylum in America, seeking refuge and safety. Instead, he found ICE agents altering his birth certificate to make it appear that he was over 18 so they could detain him. While incarcerated, he taught himself English and never stopped believing there was a place for him in America. And he was right. He too found a home in Somersworth, my son's home. And I'm proud he calls me Grandpa, and to witness the American dream live on in a new generation. Some say the American dream no longer exists. I reject that. I'm running for Congress because I believe in an American dream in which no one suffers, because their for-profit insurance company won't cover the illness they need. An America where healthcare is a right and where single-payer Medicare is a reality. I believe in an America where working 40 hours a week is enough to provide for a family. I believe in a living wage. I believe in an America where a college education shouldn't cripple you with debt. I believe in a debt-free public college. I believe in an America where public schools are valued, where we can end the NRA's chokehold on politicians and children don't have to learn active shooter drills. I believe in an America that recognizes the existential threat of global warming, where we can solve climate change by investing in renewables, passing a carbon tax, and ending offshore drilling and fossil fuel subsidies. I believe in an America where the values of democracy, where politicians represent the people, not corporations, special interests, and lobbyists. I believe these things because I've lived the American dream, because I've been serving the people of New Hampshire for most of my adult life. During my 18 years as Stratford County Attorney, I created a victim assistance program that protected survivors of sexual assault and child abuse. It's now a statewide standard. I traveled to Standing Rock in 2016 to fight with the Sioux Nation for their water rights. I mentored Palestinian public defenders in the West Bank because I believe the voices of the vulnerable and because service is in my bones. I spent my life running towards the fight, not away from it. For too long, Democrats have been too timid, too accommodating, and too silent. It's time for us to speak up, and speak often. 3 things I have no problem with. Thank you very much. My name is Lincoln Soledad.
Chris Powell.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us here tonight, for being off the sidelines in what is such a critical contest to ensure that we have a progressive picking up the torch from Carol Shea Porter and fighting for us in Washington, D.C. And I put myself forward as a candidate for that office, and I ask for your support. I'm a lifelong resident of New Hampshire, grew up in Manchester, attended public schools, run a family restaurant business that's been in operation for 101 years. My great-grandfather came here from Greece, started a small candy store and ice cream shop. I got the opportunity to work alongside my family in that business. I own it today with my dad and my brother-in-law. We've got about 230 employees. Everything I know about the world around me was learned by working in that business. The value of hard work, servant leadership, what it means not to look out for the bottom line, but to look out for those around you who work with you and those in the larger community to try to lift them up. And that offered me a transition into public service in New Hampshire, to look out for a community that has given me so many opportunities in life. I've served in the legislature, and now I'm in my 3rd term as a member of the Executive Council. I represent 1/3 of this district, and I ran for the council because 5 Republican men decided to defund Planned Parenthood health centers in our state. And I knew that was the wrong direction for 13,000 women and men in our state and for public health and good health outcomes. I fought back against it, we won. I also fought to implement Medicaid expansion, which is the best tool we have to fight the opioid crisis in the state, and now covers 53,000 individuals. And I approached this campaign with the values that I learned here in New Hampshire and with the fights under my belt from the State House. I believe that health care should be a right and not a privilege, and I will fight for it as your member of Congress. I believe that we need an economy that works for each and every individual, who works hard and plays by the rules, so that they can get ahead and stay ahead in this economy. I believe that we've got to fight climate change and have to ensure that we respect our natural environment, that we respect workers and women's rights and LGBT rights, and that we reform our campaign finance system and get big money out of our politics and put the power of our democracy back in the hands of regular people. We are building a strong campaign to win this tough seat. We are speaking to progressives, Democrats, Independents, and Republicans. I'm proud to have the support of folks who supported Bernie Sanders early, Hillary Clinton, Martin O'Malley. We've got the support of Senator Maggie Hassan, the majority of Democratic mayors and state reps and state senators from across the district. But the support I'm most interested in earning is yours. And that's why we're running an aggressive campaign that's focused on you, the people of the 1st District. So I'm a candidate who's grounded in the people and places of New Hampshire. I will never stop fighting for grand state values, and I'll bring my New Hampshire know-how to Washington, D.C. to push back against Donald Trump and right-wing Republicans that are destroying this country. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for being here tonight and being part of this important process that we're going through. And thanks to the party and to Larry Drake for organizing this. I'm Mindy Mesmer. I'm state representative from Rye. I've been an environmental scientist for 30 years. I'm also a mother of 2. I came here 33 years ago to live and to go to UNH for graduate school, and I've been here ever since. I've operated a small woman-owned business for 20 years that I started as an environmental scientist. I identified a pediatric cancer cluster in 2014, and when the state came back in 2016 and said they would just sit back and watch other children get sick or perhaps die from these rare cancers, I decided I had to blow the whistle on it. And that got me started in a political career. I was asked to run for the House. I ran in a Republican district and got the highest vote count out of 4 people. I was asked to serve on the governor's task force to investigate environmental triggers for the cancers, but I'm not a career politician, as you can tell. I just came to this through my activism on some very important issues in our community. Since then, when I was elected, I went to the State House and I fought for clean water, to prevent cancer, to protect trans, women's, and gay rights. I pulled the gay conversion therapy ban bill out of the trash and put it on the governor's desk. I fought to expand the use of medical marijuana to address our opioid crisis here in the state of New Hampshire. I fight for workers' rights, for single-payer health care, for Medicaid expansion, and to protect the mentally ill. I also fought to repeal the death penalty. I worked across the aisle and got 13 bills passed and signed by the governor in a Republican supermajority. My campaign is about working together with the most incredible volunteers and energy that keeps building every single day. From the seacoast to Plastow to Manchester to the North Country, we're seeing an incredible outpouring of support. It's clear that people want someone that's going to fight for them and not for the lobbyists or the special interests. Someone who fights for the issues that are so very important to the 99% of us. Who isn't taking money from corporate PACs or any PACs of any kind and no special interest money. We're taking this fight to Washington. I'll fight for livable wages for the families who are finding it hard to put money on food on the kitchen table. I'll fight for the young people who found their voice and who feel underrepresented by our corrupt political system. I'll fight for a tax code that works for all of us, not just the wealthy people who line the coast of the pockets of DC insiders. I'll fight for single-payer health care, a Medicare for all system, not just for the wealthy people or the wealthy insurance companies. And I'll fight to put science, evidence, and logic back into Washington decision-making. What's unfolded here is a very real threat to the health and well-being of all U.S. citizens. I'll fight the 2 top threats to our national security, climate change and drinking water contamination, to protect our environment for the future and health of our children and families for the future. I'll fight to protect the democracy of our future, the right for each person's vote to be counted and to be heard. We must overturn Citizens United and ensure that the Electoral College is outdated, that does not represent the people. Vote for me on September 11th.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I think it says a lot about our country, our state, and our community that so many people make the time to come out on an evening in the summer. My name is Maura Sullivan. I'm a United States Marine, combat veteran. I was proud to work for a little more than 6 years for President Barack Obama, and I live in Portsmouth. You know, I come from a family committed to service, and my own journey of service started when I got a ROTC scholarship to go to college and join the Marines. In the Marines, I served all over the world. I was stationed in Japan and trained a lot in Korea. And then in 2005, I was a little bit west of Baghdad in the Iraq War. There I served alongside the greatest Americans I've ever known, who come from all around our country and raise their right hand not to a president, but to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. But what I also saw when I was there was that leaders in Washington were totally out of touch with what was actually going on. And I left there deeply opposed to the Iraq War. Then my journey of service continued here in New England, where I campaigned all throughout our state in 2008 for Barack Obama. Went to VFWs and American Legions. And then I was proud to work for a little more than 6 years for President Obama. I was appointed by the President to serve on the leadership team of the Department of Veterans Affairs when it was in crisis, helping to get veterans access to care in the community. And then served at the Pentagon, where I worked on our transgender policy and went toe-to-toe with generals over paid family leave and making sure women had rights. You know, I am running because I think, like all of us, because why else would we all be here? I love our country and I love our community. And I have never in my lifetime seen a moment like the one we're in right now. I've never seen anything like it. Where the fundamental principles about what make us America are currently at stake and our very democracy is under attack. You know, the greatest issues I hear from all of you, all around our state, that we need to stand up to this president, that health care is becoming inaccessible, that women's reproductive rights are under attack, and that children are worried about going to school because of gun violence. These are issues that I have been working on and fighting for most of my adult life. And I'm the only candidate in this race that's been doing that at the highest levels of the federal government. And I have the ability to hit the ground running on day one for our state and be a tireless and effective advocate. You know, I'm worried when I look around the country. We all should be worried, but I'm also hopeful. And the reason is this. We're the country that elected Barack Obama. We sent Barack and Michelle Obama to the White House. Twice we did that. And every person in this room had something to do with us getting that done. Whether you voted, whether you came to an event like this. Shoot, I know one woman who baked a pie. So all of us coming out and coming together is how we are going to hold this seat and keep it blue. And I am here tonight to ask for your support and ask for your vote. Thank you.
I'd like to thank all of you for coming here and part of letting me speak up on the stage. I'm probably one of the most anonymous people in this room, even though I've lived in this state my entire life. I've been a Boy Scout, a grocery store clerk. I've worked in retail, in carpentry, in lawn care, and finally these days, after having gone back to school, I'm an accountant in nonprofit. I know what it means to have to deal with the small things in life constantly. I had a wonderful speech planned. It would have been amazing, but then it was derailed when I found this little rock in my pocket. My wife snuck into my suit coat a small little carved heart today, so she would remind me that she had my back, even though she's at work right now. And I believe that is what we are all fighting for in a lot of senses, the little things as well as the big things. For us to be able to do what matters in life in an environment where the government supports our freedom. That's what liberal is, freedom. In a world that can change to adapt to everything that's going on with it. Progressive. Those are supposed to be some of the key words that define us, but we've all been stuck with a system of heavily status quo, where so little has changed, where wages have been stagnant in the face of inflation, where we haven't solved the big problems, healthcare, student loans, campaign finance reform. We haven't solved immigration. We've been working on it for 200 years in this country. I think sometimes it's very important to be able to leave your small bubble of the world, to take a risk, and to do what leadership is supposed to do. Leading means to go first. It doesn't mean anything about getting someone to follow you. It's about being willing to step up and take a risk. This is what I'm doing with all of you right now. I'm applying for a 2-year contract with all of you as my bosses and taking a big risk in doing so because I'm doing so on a platform of extreme integrity. By that I mean I want to prove to you beyond a shadow of a doubt that I'm a politician, since that's what I've become by standing up here with my fellows, a politician by default, who is incapable of being bought. I'm doing this with nothing other than my spare change and refusing all contributions, because I believe that it's possible to take money out of politics, and I'll do it first by taking it out of myself.
Let's give a big round of applause for all 11 of our candidates. So to reiterate one more time, candidates will have 1 minute to answer your question. Candidates wishing to comment, this is a voluntary on their part, on another candidate's response should raise their hands and be acknowledged by a moderator. The response is limited to 1 minute, and NHDP staff will make sure that equal time is given to all candidates. What that means is that the more a candidate tries to answer everyone else's question, it counts against them when we get towards the end. So I'm trying to group some of these questions together. The first one will be to Paul Cardinal. I'm going to read all three because they all touch a little differently but are on the same subject matter. Will you give a voice to the students who are unable to refinance their student loans? What are your solutions to student loan paybacks with high interest, with high percent interest? And if elected, would you support a bill like the Free College for All Act introduced by Senator Sanders and Warren in 2017?
Thank you. I absolutely support free or tuition-free state college and trade school. I think that the crippling student debt that we're sending our young adults into the workforce for is prohibiting them from buying homes, from finding jobs that can recuperate the debt they've incurred from just attending college, which we've encouraged ourselves to do for the past 20 years. I was a first-generation college student myself, and I graduated from college, oh my gosh, 16 years ago, and I still have student debt. I think there's a program that I know Minnie and I have talked about in the past that allows students to pay back student debt as a percentage of their earnings when they graduate. So basically they get a return on investment for their education. And if schools think that their schools are worth the tuition they're charging, they should feel free to charge a percentage of what somebody earns afterwards to prove that the tuition was worth what you paid.
Mindy.
Thank you for that question. It is really important to provide a good choice for people to attend public school, private, and without accumulating much of debt. I do agree with what Paul said. I was the one that talked about the program at Purdue University talks about that it relieves you of debt after 10 years. You pay 10% of your income to pay back your college debt after you graduate. And then I also believe that we need to provide, I would not only support Senator Sanders, but I would introduce my own House version of that bill to have a companion bill.
Chris Thomas.
Well, thank you. It's critically important.
Turn on the mic.
It's critically important that college is within reach of each and every student, especially here in New Hampshire, a state that provides the least amount of support for our public universities, that also has the high student debt load, that also sends 60% of our high school graduates off to college in another state, most of whom never return to enter the workforce here, and as a result, we're the second oldest state in the country. We have got to solve this problem nationally, and especially here in New Hampshire. That's why I support plans to provide a degree tuition-free to students at our public universities and community colleges. There's no reason that an individual can get a mortgage at a low rate, or a bank can borrow money at essentially 0%, and students are paying 8–10% for a loan. Congress has got to cut those rates. We should expand Pell Grants, expand tuition assistance and loan forgiveness programs, and we should fire Betsy DeVos because she's got the wrong idea and is taking us backward.
Education is quite simply the key to prosperity, and I support debt-free college for all of our public institutions, 2-year, 4-year, technical. I believe the admissions office should be over here, and the financial aid office should be over here. And if you're accepted based on your merit, the financial aid office has to make it debt-free. By reducing tuition, providing tax deductions, and work study. Interest rates are brutal, as we said. It's not right that someone can get a 3% interest rate on a car loan, but student loan rates are in the double digits. Student loan debt for parents and students are crippling. One of the first bills we introduced and passed in 2007 was to increase the amount of money for Pell Grants. Do you know what the first thing the Republicans did when they got back the majority in 2010? Voted to decrease the amount of money for Pell Grants. For those of you who already have debt, I'm in that camp, I support taking a significant deduction on the 1040, being allowed to refinance to a lower interest rate. And for those who have chosen to work in the public sector, such as teaching, tax-free loan forgiveness, thank you.
Beverly.
So I support all of these plans to make college debt more manageable, but I think we're putting the cart before the horse a bit. We need to make sure that kids are graduating high school with the ability to do more than get debt in college. We need to be focusing on bringing back the trades into the high school arena. We need to be talking about teaching teachers how to teach coding. This is programs that have been established down in New York City, and it's going to be expanded to all of New York public schools. We could be doing down here or up here with Title IIA money that we could bring down from the federal government. It shouldn't take, and it pains me to say this because he's a Laker now, LeBron James to open up his own school to start leading. We have to understand that high school education is dramatically important for our kids and our future.
Okay, next question is to Levy Sanders. Will you co-sponsor a Medicare for All system that keeps all of us healthy and saves us money, as proven by the recent Cook Brothers study? If not, what is your specific plan to cut skyrocketing healthcare costs?
Yeah, I'd say that's my signature issue. And unfortunately, a lot of folks in this stage do not believe in it. And you have to ask the fundamental question, why would you support somebody such as Chris Pappas or Maura Sullivan? They're going to raise up $2.2 million. So you folks, millennials, have to ask that fundamental question. I understand that Chris is good at making ice cream. That's great. And he puts a really beautiful sign. But we are at a point right now that we have a situation where people are dying as a result of not having the proper medical care that they are entitled to. We need to have Medicare for all. That means no co-payments, no deductibles, and no premiums. Thank you very much.
Terrence?
So I think Medicare for all is the next logical step to get us where we need to be, which is full coverage. But in the long run, what we need to have is a national health system that's not for profit, it's not for profit. And if you think about the country of Italy, okay, Italy is no one's idea of a stable democracy or a stable country, but they have a national health system. That means every citizen of Italy, people on vacation there on a visa, have health care. They spend less than 9% of their GDP on health care. Their life expectancy is 84 years. We spend nearly 18% of our GDP on health care, and our average life expectancy is 78 years. So the difference between having national health insurance and not is 6 years of your life. 6 years of your life being taken from you because we've got politicians who rather sell out to the insurance companies than to take care of the people of this country.
So I think most of us in this room agree on Medicare for all. It's a moral issue, and for me, it's not a campaign issue, it's a life issue. But as a campaign issue, we need to be talking about it from a point of view of a business owner. And that's what I am doing on the campaign trail. I am talking to independents and some Republicans about this because it is a business issue. And you don't have to take my word for it. I'm a liberal from the seacoast. But if you ask Warren Buffett what the single biggest tapeworm on the economy is, and he is going to say health care costs. And him and Jamie Dimon and Jeff Bezos banded together and realized that 18% of GDP, it was too expensive for the richest men running the biggest companies in America to be able to afford it. And that's why they pulled their employees out of the private health insurance market and are creating their own healthcare system. We have to understand that this is a business issue just as much as it's a moral issue. When we do that, we will win.
Then Chris, then Maura. Okay, take Terrence.
You have to understand that we do not have a healthcare system in this country. We have a health insurance system. It does not provide health care to anyone. Nobody in this room ever went to their insurance agent and said, take my blood pressure, draw my blood. We need a health care system. Single payer, Medicare for all. What does that mean? That means employers do not have to provide health insurance to their employees any longer. It means that it covers everyone, from prenatal to hospice care. It means a system that costs us less money as a country, not more. You heard it's 18% of GDP we pay now. We would save trillions of dollars, according to the Koch brothers, by going to a single Medicare for all. Businesses would be the greatest beneficiaries, as well as every single American. It is the only solution that is viable, rational, and credible. Thank you.
Next, then Maura, then Mindy.
Well, as I said in my opening, I believe health care is a fundamental human right, and we have got to treat it as such in this country. As an employer, we provided coverage to our workers long before we were required to do so by the ACA because it's the right thing to do. And it's the right thing for each and every one of us to look out for our neighbors and make sure that they have the best quality health care that this nation can provide. No one's fought harder up here on this stage to expand health care to individuals at the State House than I have. And I'll take that fight to Washington, D.C. As long as the private for-profit insurance companies are in the driver's seat and the big pharmaceutical companies, it's going to be a race to the bottom. And we have got to look for ways to rein them in. we've also got to look for ways to stop the President and the Republican sabotage effort on the Affordable Care Act. They're in court trying to take away coverage for people with pre-existing conditions. This is a dangerous effort that's going to undermine healthcare in this country. We've got to move forward and look at bold plans that are going to cover everyone. I'll do that as a member of Congress and look even for incremental ways to provide coverage.
Maura.
My ultimate North Star is making sure that every grandstater and every person in this country, frankly, has affordable access to health care, period. And I served on the leadership team of the largest integrated healthcare system in the United States. When I was appointed by President Obama to serve the Department of Veterans Affairs, so I'm very aware of the cost and challenges of access to care. Let's just be really, really clear where we are right now. We are a very long way from where we need to be. We have, folks, a Republican president and a Republican Congress that are trying to dismantle what's left of the Affordable Care Act. They're trying to take away coverage for children with pre-existing conditions, and I will fight that as your Congresswoman with every bone in my body because it is immoral. And there are some steps that we need to take in this Congress, whatever the Congress looks like, to make sure that we move closer towards everyone having affordable access to quality health care. And I'm looking at what we can get done on January 4th, because we needed help 6 months ago, 6 years ago, because nobody in here can afford health care. And that's what I'm going to be focused on.
Fully believe in Medicare for all. I heard a little bit of an issue. I fought really hard in the House here for single-payer health care, and I also fought for Medicaid expansion. I fought to remove the 25-hour work week we ended up with in order to get Medicaid passed here in the state of New Hampshire. So I fought really hard for that in the Health and Human Services Committee. Medicare for all is the way to go. We can afford it. We just have to put our priorities in the right place. It's important to have it. We need to be able to let people in New Hampshire not worry about being $400 away from bankruptcy if they have a medical situation in their family. And we also need to be able to let people move from job to job in this state and innovate and create and start their own businesses. I was able to leave my company and start a business because my husband had health care. He's never been able to do that. We need to be able to fix some of the economic situations we have in the state of New Hampshire, allow people to innovate, allow them to move on and not worry about their health care. If you ask any senior, they love their Medicaid. They love their Medicare, I should say. So we need to implement that for everyone. Medicare will save a lot of money. Medicare will save $1 trillion in the first year. Thank you.
We need one of the 3 microphones that you're all sharing out there.
We have been a leader on this issue since the very beginning. We have been campaigning on allowing people to opt into Medicare since 2006. We knew that the ACA wasn't a perfect bill. We knew that it was getting the train out of the station. We were furious when they took the public option out. And you all know that in the interim that we've had a Republican majority that's voted 60 times to repeal it. No conversations about how to make it better, how to tweak it. The reason I know that we can get everyone on board to allow people to opt into Medicare, when we were going around in 2009 having town halls, can I tell you how many people said, keep the government out of my Medicare? What that tells me is people know it, they trust it, their mom's on it, their grandmother's on it. They might not know who administers it. That's okay. I know that this is going to be the next step to increase competition by adopting single-payer Medicare. We won't compromise quality or access and drive down the spiraling costs of deductibles and premiums. Thank you.
Let me just say this, for those of you who are single-payer that are on the stage, we welcome you to the fight. Because the fact is that 10 years ago, or 15 years ago, when Kanye introduced his bill for single payer, I was right there with it. And Bernie Sanders was right there with it, and Hillary Clinton wasn't. So let's make it clear that this idea has been around for a long time, and a lot of people had the opportunity to jump on it, and it amazes the hell out of me that I'm sitting here with people saying, well, now I'm all for single payer. That's terrific. But also, let me say this. I would like to know what providing health care means. I've heard this term up here before. Now look, I had health care for the employees that worked for me. I paid for their health care. I had employees that we were in the fire department. As a firefighter for 27 years, the city of Manchester paid for my health care. I've heard a lot of employees say they provided. What does that mean? Thank you.
All set? Okay. Question for Terrence. This is from a person who started off by saying, as an ACLU voter, which most of us are, I've been very concerned about the customs and border patrol checkpoints occurring in Woodstock. If you are elected to Congress, what will you do to ensure these coercive checkpoints end?
I guess maybe I'm not an ACLU voter. I actually take on the ACLU a lot in my job. ICE is a part of, CBP is part of ICE, which is there to protect our borders, not only from folks who shouldn't be here, but protect our borders from stuff that shouldn't be coming in. And, you know, one of the sine qua nons of nationhood is definable borders, so you have to have borders to be a country. Now, that being said, what's happening right now is a disgrace. What we're doing right now is we're separating families at borders with no plan on how to reunite them. We're discriminating against people based on their religion, on their country of origin. We shouldn't be doing that. But the idea that we're not going to protect our borders and we're not going to have INS or ICE is totally ridiculous to me.
David?
So it's about priorities. Right now, ICE has the priority of finding every single illegal immigrant in this country, undocumented immigrant in this country, and deporting them. I want the priority of this U.S. government to making sure that everybody has the ability to graduate high school and go out and get the American dream. I want the ability for everybody in this country to have health care when they need it. And the more that we focus on building a wall, it's not a deterrent to anybody that's coming to this country by any means. It is a deterrent to the people that view this country as the land of opportunity, that view this country as where they can go. It's a deterrent to Elon Musk, who's a kid growing up in South Africa, who knows that this country is the only country that he can come to and build a rocket to take an electric car to orbit Mars. If we don't have America represent everybody that wants to come here, we don't have America. Thank you.
Mark?
The frame of this campaign for me has been economic security. And let me tell you, part of what it means to be an immigrant in this country is that you don't have economic security. I've been representing and standing next to immigrants for many, many years. I've met them in court, I've been on the picket line with them, I've been to the employers who ripped them off, and we took it back. We took their money, got their money, and their tools back. Immigration in this country is a broken system. It's a system that requires us, as Americans, to say what it is that we want our country to look like. What it is that and how we are going to shape our country. It's called democracy. And right now, the people in charge of that democracy believe that the way you deal with immigration and immigration's rights is you put them in jail. And I have walked with people who have been in jail, immigrants who have been in jail, and it is jail.
Maura, where's home?
You know, I met a 9-year-old boy in Manchester recently who was worried about his father being detained. And what we're seeing at our borders right now is not only disgraceful, it's un-American. It's not who we are as a country. Separating families, separating parents from their children. You know, when I served overseas, when I served in the Marines, we worked to reunite families in Iraq. People look to reunite families in Afghanistan. That's who we are. That's what this country's about. And listen, ICE isn't the issue. ICE is an agency that answers at the top. The answer, the problem, is this president. Because this president is directing ICE. And we need to stand up to him, and that's what I'm going to do as our member of Congress. We need to hold this guy accountable and make sure that he starts acting in a way that is in concert with the values of what this country is about. And that is what is at stake in this election.
The first thing we have to do to fix our immigration system is to abolish ICE. I know firsthand in the story I related to you in my opening remarks how cruel ICE can be, how they violate the rights of seekers and immigrants only seeking a better life for themselves. ICE originally was part of the Patriot Act. Their job was to seek out terrorists, not to terrorize immigrants and asylum seekers. What we need to do is to have a path of citizenship for DACA recipients. We need an immigration system that helps people come to this country, not prevent them to come to this country because they're not among the elites. We need to abolish ICE because of its cruelty. We've seen it with our own eyes. This has to end. Thank you.
Naomi, did you have your hand up? Okay. Naomi Andrews, then Mindy. Naomi.
We need serious reform of ICE. Did you all know that ICE has a bed quota minimum? That has to end. We need oversight and accountability when rules and laws are broken. I call on Secretary Nielsen to resign. Too many children were permanently harmed and too many not reunited. I am outraged that we got to a place in our country that U.S. policy was to harm innocent children. I'm outraged that this president claimed that small refugee children were not innocent. I've yet to meet a little one who's not innocent. You know, Congress has abdicated its constitutional duty. I have the courage to fight for and to vote for much-needed comprehensive immigration reform. We have to remove people from the shadows who have been working hard and contributing to our society, some for decades, and create a pathway to citizenship. Thank you.
We definitely need to abolish ICE. We need a path to citizenship. This is really not the way America is all about. We are taking asylum seekers, people who have left their countries in dangerous situations. They've dropped their lives. They've come here to the United States because they felt that this is the best thing for their families, and we're separating them on the borders from their children. I can't imagine the pain that these families and the children and the trauma that's being imposed on these children. We know the doctors are calling this basically child abuse being acted on by our government. This is nothing more than a racist policy being brought out on the rest of us. And we need to implement a path to citizenship. We need to re-implement the family case management program that was successful for 99% of the asylum seekers. And we need to protect the Flores settlement, which Donald Trump is trying to unseat right now, which protects how children are treated and families are treated when they are at the border. So all of these policies need to be addressed. We are not a country of racists.
Well, thank you. You know, New Hampshire falls within the entire 100-mile zone from the border where Customs and Border Patrol can set up checkpoints. And they're doing it all over New Hampshire. They've been doing it this summer, asking people for their papers on their way to work or on their way up north to enjoy our lakes and our mountains. That's not what New Hampshire's about, and that's not what this country should be about. That's why I support legislation to reduce that distance to 25 miles, which has been supported by Democrats who are in Congress right now. I also think that we need fundamental immigration reform that adheres to the values of this country, that recognizes that welcoming more immigrants here is the American thing to do, it's the just thing to do, it's also the economic thing to do, and we can benefit greatly in New Hampshire by doing that. So I think we need to make sure that the defining words on immigration don't come from Donald Trump's mouth, that they come from the Statue of Liberty and from the experience of those who have come to this country to seek a better life.
Question for Declan. Do you support the pipeline that is planned to go up through 101 to the city of Manchester?
No, I don't. And let me tell you why. I think, and I was just at New Vision Energy this morning and got to tour that around with Dan Weeks. And for those of you that need a solar roof, I would go over there right now. Great showroom. But we need to be talking about decentralized power grid. And every step that we take to ensure that fossil fuels are the only delivery that we have in this country is a step away from creating that future where we have a decentralized power grid. And you don't have to just be somebody that's focused on the environment to look at this. Just 2 days ago, it was reported that Russia has the ability to hack our power grid and to be able to destabilize our electric grid. That should worry us all, and that we're focused on building combined cycle plants that are focused on centralized energy delivery should bother us all. We need to be talking about the 21st century power grid. We need to be talking about decentralized energy. We need to be talking about solar wind. We need to be making our world safer, as well as protect our national security. Thank you very much.
I'm in very much opposition to Granite Bridge. We need to get off of fossil fuels. We need to start working on some more sustainable replacement renewables. Did you know that if we don't address our plastics pollution, which is based on the fossil fuel industry's petroleum-based products, by the year 2050, there will be more plastic in the ocean than there will be fish. We really need to address this. The plastics industry and the fossil fuel industry do not want you to know about these projects. They try to slide the Granite Bridge project through without people knowing it, and thank goodness many astute people have been looking at it now and fighting against it, and I'm in full opposition to the Granite Bridge project.
All right, next question. Mark McKenzie. What is your position on NAFTA and TPP?
Great disappointment to the Democrats who passed NAFTA, I might add. NAFTA was a mistake. It's been a mistake. It should have never happened, and it should be reeled back in. Any trade agreement that's passed in the last 20 years has been a mistake for this country, and put American workers at an enormous disadvantage. I was at the Center for the United Auto Workers when the day NAFTA passed. And it was an amazing time to be with auto workers who are about to lose their jobs, their occupations, and their future. We once again need trade policies that favor the American people, that are shaped in a way that support what we want as a dream for our country. That's what we need to do, not trade policies that undermine the economic security of our nation, of the people of our nation, which is what NAFTA has done.
Anybody else? Okay. Next question is for Naomi. The handwriting is not the greatest, so hopefully I'm reading the words correctly. In 2 years, more than 1/3 of our state will be over the age of 65. With increased fragmenting, I think, of families, and as anticipated 33.3% increase in dementia diagnosis in the next 5 years, how do you plan to address the glaring lack of social supports for caregivers and their loved ones with dementia? And there's a sentence at the end, please do not offer funds for research. That ship has sailed.
I hope that ship has not sailed. I fully support making sure that the state has what it needs for our aging population. It's crucial. We need to keep people, young people in this state to fill those demanding roles. So we need to encourage community colleges and our four-year institutions to provide programs and to provide the training that those young individuals need to stay in the state and provide those services to the aging. But we also need the young people to stay for the other jobs that are here in the state. I travel around this district going to manufacturing, high-tech firms, hearing from the HR people, we have jobs. And I said, okay, tell me what your partnerships are with our local colleges, and I got blank stares. So it's not only that issue, it's multiple issues. We need young people staying here. There's a path forward, and I know how to get there. Thank you.
Kevin, then Maura.
Our biggest export in New Hampshire is our kids. And we got to make sure that we're doing everything we can, because it's a great place to come and retire in New Hampshire, but it's a bad place, to be 85 and need services that are provided to you. That is something that we have to change. On the federal level, we need to make sure that we're fully funding HUD so that we can have municipalities use that in planning. But here on the local level, when it comes to seniors and the assistance that they need, we have to recognize that this is a choice that we're making on the state level. I know a family that decided to move to Vermont because here in New Hampshire, they had to work with six clients 10 hours a week for a full-time job versus Vermont that chooses to prioritize their seniors and care for their seniors, where you can work 35 hours and get paid $15 an hour in that state. We need to be talking about this on a federal level because we're not solving it here on the state level. That's something that we need to prioritize as everybody on this table. Thank you very much.
if you look at where our state's going to be in 2030, I mean, it is startling and alarming how aging our population is going to be. And the support that we are going to need. We're going to have some difficult decisions, folks, to make as a country, but I want to be clear. We need to protect and support our seniors, and I will always work to fight and protect and support our seniors because that is who our state is. You know, if you look at the Gibson Center north of Conway, 37% of that budget is from federal grants and federal funds. And the capacity, the needs of that center are only going to expand over the next 10, 15 years. So we have to fight to get the federal resources we need, but we've also got to attract the workforce here to support our seniors. We need to raise the minimum wage, and we've got to have a paid family leave policy so that people want to come here and work and support our seniors.
Guys, again, as I said, I don't know how much clearer I can get. The simple fact is, seniors will benefit if we have a Medicare for all, single-payer healthcare system. I mean, again, I would love the opportunity to have a debate, go back and forth, because I can see you guys are very excited about this forum. I can see a lot of excitement, yelling and screaming, rah-rah. We have to have a serious and substantive debate about what's going on here. We have a situation where, again, Maura Sullivan and Chris Pappas do not believe in Medicare for all, single-payer healthcare. That's disgraceful to seniors that I talk to and listen to all the time who do not have the ability to get dental care. Hearing aids cost $15,000, folks. We have to say loudly and clearly that we are entitled and deserve a Medicare for all healthcare system. Thank you.
So, on both these problems, in terms of seniors having access to services and keeping young people here, the solution to it is a robust public transportation system. So if you're someone up in Conway and you have an appointment at a hospital down in Portsmouth, and you don't have a car, you don't have the ability to drive, how do you get there? You can't, right? And if you're a young person, you want to live and work in New Hampshire, but you know, we don't have professional sports teams, we don't have a lot of theater, we don't have these things young people want. You want to go to Boston, you want to go to Portland, you want to go to Montreal. But how are you going to do that to get back home, be in bed, to go to work the next day? This is how we're going to do it. I want you to go to rovercongress.com and look at my full plan. I want to provide bus and rail transportation to connect every American in the continental United States to every other American. And this is how we're going to keep young people in New Hampshire. They're going to be able to work here. We have 70 job openings in Saffron and Rochester right now that we can't fill. If we can keep these young kids here, give them access to these things they want, and they can come home at the end of the day, they'll stay. And our older citizens, again, public transportation. If you've ever lived in a major city with any density, you know the number one form of transportation for senior citizens is public transportation. Thank you.
And then more.
One of the best things that we can do for our seniors in this country is to stabilize the Social Security system, to better fund it, to increase the benefits for Social Security so that elderly people can live in some kind of dignity in this country. It was the American employers who took away pension benefits for many, many employers in this country. And we need a system that is secure, and the way we make Social Security secure is that we take the cap off of Social Security and we make those people who have the most money pay for this system. And you know, the other thing, we got to make sure that Medicaid is properly funded, and we got to make sure that people don't go to bed every night worrying about whether or not the only income they have and the only security that they have could be taken away in the night by politicians in Washington.
I think we want to get back to the original question. Though the question was the social supports for caregivers and their loved ones with dementia. If we can talk about what you would support for programs that would support their ability to care for their loved ones and give a break for them. So, Maura, I think you had your hand up.
Respond to the previous comment. Let me, disgraceful is Republicans who are trying to dismantle the Affordable Care Act. Disgraceful is a Republican president who's trying to take away coverage for people with pre-existing conditions, including children. Disgraceful is a president who goes overseas to Helsinki and is in cahoots with Putin. Disgraceful is the fact that we've got children in this country who are worried about going to school because of gun violence. That's what's disgraceful. And I'm going to fight all of those like hell as your member of Congress and do what we can do on January 4th to start taking our country back. Thank you.
She never mentioned your name, Larry, and you will be... Okay. What you do is the next time you get a chance, you can then take time from that answer, and that's what folks generally do. Is anyone else that wants to address this specific issue? Okay. Whoops. William Martin.
I think that our national health care system, as a replacement for the current insurance-based system, would be a great help to the caregivers. We'd be able to make sure that there's actually money to pay for them with, so they can afford basic things like to get to work in our state to help people with dementia. It's not just important that we have staff who are willing to help our seniors, but they have to be able to be willing to do so at a living wage, which can involve making sure we raise our minimum wages and making sure that we have a healthcare system that covers their services, because around-the-clock medical is not an easy thing to provide, and it is a necessary thing for somebody with dementia. Thank you.
Okay, the next question will be to Lincoln, but I'm going to ask each of you to answer. If we can just pass the microphone and go on, because there are 4 questions that all deal with the same issue. I'm going to read each of the 4 so that nobody's point gets left out, even though I think the first one pretty much summarizes it. What policies or legislation do you think should be prioritized to address the ongoing issue of gun violence and mass shootings, particularly in schools? To all the candidates, what is your position on civilian ownership of assault weapons? How will you address gun violence in schools? What will you do to reduce the epidemic of gun violence in our country? Start off with Lincoln, and if you just go from Chris and all the way down, and then we'll start back this way.
Well, let me begin with an assumption that everybody here that owns an automobile has a driver's license. And ask you why you think that is if you had to get a license. The answer to that is that a motor vehicle is considered a dangerous instrumentality under the law. And because of that, you have to demonstrate that you know how to operate it safely. A dangerous instrumentality is anything that is capable of causing death or serious bodily injury, like a firearm. So you should be required to show some proficiency, that you know how to handle a firearm safely, store it safely, etc. We also should have a waiting period before you can purchase it. Whether it's 42 or 72 hours, we can talk about. But we should, because the majority of deaths by guns in this country are suicides. And we know that a delay in purchasing a gun will save lives. I also think that we should do away with assault weapons and bump stocks. Thank you. I guess my time's up.
Well, thank you. This is a uniquely American tragedy. We saw 36,000 lives lost in this country last year due to gun violence. And it's time we shake up Congress, because they're in the pockets of the NRA and the gun industry, to get something done about this. We need to pass universal background checks, supported, by the way, by 95% of people right here in the state of New Hampshire. We can get this done in a way that respects common sense gun ownership and responsible gun ownership. You know, I have a fellow on my campaign, Ava. She's a student here at Exeter High. She led a walkout. She had a panel discussion here in town. Now she's working in the political arena. We've got to lift up the voices of young people in New Hampshire and across this country that are not going to let the adults forget about this, and are going to ensure that we do something. So we need to pass red flag laws, ban bump stocks and high-capacity magazines, do something about this 3D printing manual that's being distributed right now. That needs to be stopped in its tracks. We can save lives, keep our community safe, and take action, and I'll do that as a member of Congress.
returned from 3 days of gun violence prevention seminar in California, and I was asked to moderate a panel on the epidemiology of gun violence prevention. So I took a very deep dive into this the last few days. We do, as Lincoln said, 61% of the deaths are by suicide. A delay in being able to access a gun is important, but it's also important not to have people have access to guns in general in their homes. They can be locked, especially for children, so children can't gain access to them. We need to implement extreme risk orders, which allows us to prohibit the use of guns in people that are extremely high risk for violence. We also need to let the CDC study this issue, who hasn't been able to study this since 1996, to really understand this public health crisis and figure out the best ways to address it. And that's about it. Thank you very much.
If I were in Congress right now, not only would I be voting for an assault weapons ban and common sense gun procedures, I'd be introducing it on the House floor. I've got 10-year-olds who come into my house parties that are afraid to go to school. I've had teachers come to our house parties that are worried about how they're going to move the special needs children in their classrooms out of the way quick enough when an active shooter comes in. And I'll tell you how we're going to get this done in Congress. It's going to be veterans in Congress that lead it, because we have a real unassailable credibility when it comes to guns. I've fired automatic weapons many, many times. Part of my job in the Marines was overseeing the safe storage of weapons. I trained on a lot of weapon systems. And I can say with a lot of authority and credibility, they don't belong in Manchester, they don't belong in Portsmouth, they don't belong anywhere in our state or anywhere in this country, and you don't need them for hunting, for fishing, and for personal protection. And that is how we are going to get this done, is veterans and Democrats and Republicans coming together to keep our children safe. Thank you.
Believe in common sense responsibility and making sure that that is part of the law of the land. There are people who don't even pay enough attention to their safety to lock their own guns up, to lock up their ammunition. This should be a requirement. If you own something dangerous, you secure it. You keep it where no one can accidentally stumble across it. You keep the ammunition somewhere separate where no one can accidentally stumble across it. This prevents a lot of access for people who, in a moment of mental health crisis, could act very poorly. We improve the mental health system so these people will get treatment so they won't come to that moment of crisis in the first place. We keep weapons out of the hands of people who have a history of violence, who have a history of domestic abuse. And more importantly, we try to start preventing violence from a young age. We start actually teaching conflict resolution and skill rules. It will prevent bullying, it will prevent violence.
I strongly support common sense gun regulation. That puts me in line with 84% of Americans. We're talking about this because the narrative continues to push us apart into our corners, whereas this is an issue the majority of America agrees on. Do we need mitigating steps? Absolutely. We need training before you can own a firearm. It tells you how to safely store your weapon. And continuing education as you grow and you continue to familiarize yourself with the weapon while you own it. There's a program that works in many countries called the Gun Violence Restraining Order that allows, how many times do you hear somebody say, oh, all the signs were there, or the signs were reported to an official and nobody did anything about it. This is a program that allows folks to take out a restraining order on somebody getting a gun, the way they take out a restraining order on somebody they're scared of. And it allows the social circle around a dangerous person to tell the authorities with some type of response that this person should not be allowed to have a gun. It should be far more difficult to get your driver's license, as Lincoln pointed out, and we can do this today with easily measurable steps.
The first thing, guys, we have to understand we have a serious substantive discussion on this issue because we are divided both in New Hampshire as well as the rest of the country. The good news is that 85% of the NRA believes in background checks. But as I continue to speak with so many folks, they have legitimate and profound anxiety about what's going on in this country, and they are worried about their guns being taken away. So we need to really talk to folks and explain to them that the Second Amendment is sacrosanct, that nobody's taking away their guns. Barack Obama was in for 8 years as the President of the United States, never took away anybody's gun and or their ammunition. But I want to get back to what Maura Sullivan said. It's very disappointing that she consistently talks about access to health care. Access to health care does not mean anything, and it's insulting to you in the room and everybody else. I can have access to $1 billion yacht, but I simply cannot afford it. Thank you.
So these measures we're talking about in terms of gun violence, what they're going to do is not going to prevent many of these events. What they may do is mitigate some of the casualty numbers that we're seeing. So we've got to really understand is why are these things happening in America? Our neighbors to the north have just as many weapons as we do, and you don't see these events happening there. So what this really is going to require is us taking a hard look at ourselves as Americans and say, why does a man or a boy at some point decide that I'm going to walk into school, I'm going to go to a concert, and I'm going to murder a bunch of people, as many people as I can? Why is it that men in this country decide to commit suicide in front of a group of people so that they harm those people emotionally and mentally on their way out? Why is this happening? And I think if you look at ourselves hard as Americans, it's because we've lost our sense of community. We've lost our sense of understanding of being an American. Well, we've been divided particularly amongst the 1% of the divide us in race, divide us along sexual orientation lines, divide us along gender lines. And instead of rejecting those divisions, what we've done is actually embrace them. Right here in the Democratic Party, you have PACs that support someone because they're from here, they're from there, they're doing this. What we need to do is say, it's us and there's them. And when we respond to that, and it's us versus them, I think a lot of this violence will be reduced.
So as a dad, one of the most shocking things I've heard is teachers in Massachusetts actually teaching Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star in the way that a child might understand where to hide in case of gun violence. We've got to do a hell of a lot more than we're doing, and I believe in all of the things that we've said, I think, collectively up here. But one thing that separates me is we need a background check on bullets. We need to understand, especially with 3D printed guns, like, there's a reason why the NRA is coming out against 3D printed guns. It's because they can't make any money from them. They're ubiquitous. You can print them anywhere. And until we understand that we need a background check on bullets and to take on the NRA and to make sure that every American knows they are not to support gun rights and the owners of gun owners, it's to support selling semi-automatic weapons. We're not going to get anything done. Thank you.
There are a couple of things that I want to share with you. As a firefighter, I spent 27 years in the city of Manchester. And I've seen a lot of gun violence in the city of Manchester. And I've seen a lot of situations where had the guns not been there, there would have been a very different outcome. So as a candidate, what I've said and continue to say is I understand the danger that guns possess in our communities and around the country. And I will support any legislation that will take away the threat that many people in this country feel about weapons that are on the streets that shouldn't be there, with people that should not have them. We want to protect our families and our children. And finally, let me say this. If we don't acknowledge that money is at the core of all of these problems in our country, if we don't understand that we need to take that away, then we are going to be fighting this fight forever.
The gun industry leading the NRA is far too powerful. Do you remember when the Dems staged a sit-in on the House floor? Do you know what that was about? They wanted a vote to bar terrorist suspects who couldn't fly from buying weapons. And instead of allowing that vote to happen, Speaker Ryan threatened the Democrats with sanctions. Did you also hear the girl at Santa Fe who said she wasn't surprised that it happened at her school? I am done with thoughts and prayers, and I am on to action. We need to ban assault weapons. We need to have universal background checks. If I told you that you were going to the airport tomorrow and only 1 out of the 4 of you had to go through the security detector, you would think that's not fair. That's how our background system works right now. We need to limit magazine capacity. I've talked to hunters. They've said if I'm out there and I can't shoot a deer with 10 rounds, I shouldn't be out there. We need a waiting period. That will help not only with school violence, but also suicide. My family and my friends have been impacted by gun violence. I commit to being a leader on this issue. Thank you.
Well, and feel free to challenge these numbers, because my numbers There are, both Maura Sullivan and Mindy Messmer have spoken for 6 minutes. And if you add on their 2 minutes to the closing, that would give them a total of 8 minutes total for the evening. So my point is that I would like to start with the closing statements and allow the candidates to have the additional time in their closing statements that would equal that 8 minutes. So Chris Pappas would have been next if we had time for a question. So according to their numbers, he has spoken, used 5 minutes. And so he would, for his answer, for his closing, he'll have up to 3 minutes. Mindy Messmer and Maura Sullivan will have their 2 minutes as previously agreed to. William Martin can have an additional 6 minutes. Paul Cardinal can also have an additional, will have a total of 6 minutes. Paul Cardinal, according to their numbers, 6. Levy Sanders for a total of 6 minutes. And Terrence O'Rourke would have a total of 5 minutes. Declan McCaffrey would have a total of 3 minutes for closing, and Mark and Naomi would have 4 minutes, and Lincoln Soldati will have 5 minutes. So I think that's the first way of doing it, allowing everyone to have 8 minutes total. So we'll start with closing statements. Chris, you have up to 5 minutes. You had 2 minutes was the regular, but we're adding on so that your time on the stage equals the total that would be for Maura and for Mindy, because no, everyone is going to have up to 8 minutes. That's what I thought I was saying. Okay, everyone at the end of the forum will have spoken a total of 8 minutes. Okay? So we're adding on time. Both Maura and Mindy asked to speak multiple times more than a lot of the other folks. So trying to give them, everyone have a longer time so that everyone, they're still going to get their 2 minutes. I'm just adding to your closing statement additional time. 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, how much? Okay, Cardinal, 6. Sanders, 6. O'Rourke, 5. McCaffrey, 3. McKenzie, 4. Andrews, 4. Soldati, 5. Pappas, 3. Messmer and Sullivan, 2 each, and 6 for Mark. Okay, Christopher, you now have a total of 5 minutes.
3. And I'm going to try to do it in 2, I promise you. Hey, thank you all for being here, for being a part of this discussion tonight, and please stay involved in one of these campaigns over the next 5.5 weeks. We need a strong Democratic nominee who's going to be able to carry this seat and keep it blue in November. I know something about running and winning tough elections. This isn't my first go-around. I run for the Executive Council 3 times in a district that voted for Trump and Romney and Scott Brown and lots of other Republicans. Not by backing away from what I believe in or who I am, but by leaning into it. And also by having an outstretched hand to the vast majority of independent voters that dominate this district. So we're building the type of broad coalition we need to win. One issue that we didn't get to tonight that I want to bring up is big money in politics. And we have got to pass comprehensive campaign finance reform in this country that puts the power of our democracy back in the hands of regular people, that increases disclosure requirements, that gets foreign money out of our politics. I'm not taking any corporate PAC money in this campaign because we've got to limit the influence of corporate special interest power over our elections. And we've also got to pass a constitutional amendment to repeal the Citizens United decision, which is an abomination for our democracy. We're going to fully function as a country. It starts right here. And we need candidates who are running authentic New Hampshire campaigns, built on the support of people from right here in the Grand State. I'm proud that 2/3 of our donors, more than that, come from New Hampshire. 78% of our donors are giving $200 or less. We've got contributions from all 80 communities. This campaign is about all of you. This seat is not for sale. It doesn't go to the highest bidder or who can raise the most money, who brings in the most money from out of state, and it shouldn't be about the people of New Hampshire punching someone's ticket to Washington, D.C. So we're running a campaign that's based on your values, and I'd be honored to have your support in this effort. This is about picking up the torch from Carroll-shaped order and running with it. I'm capable of doing that. I've taken on the big fights in the State House. I'd be honored to have your support and be your Democratic nominee and face the Republicans down in November, because we need to win the seat and have a check and a balance in Washington, D.C., to send the Republicans packing and tell Donald Trump and the rest of the world that we don't live in Trump's America, that the state and country we know is so much more kind, more decent, more generous than what he's representing right now. So let's go out and win, and thanks very much for coming here tonight.
Thank you. I came to this not as a career politician, but as someone who cared about my community. My motivation has always been to fight for the people of New Hampshire. People know that regardless of their district or their party affiliation, I have and will fight for them. The seat will be won and kept by someone who appeals to people of all parties. When I talk about protecting drinking water and keeping our children safe, people agree. Public health is nonpartisan. I'm the candidate who can keep this seat blue now and into the future. But when our president seeks to divide us, my ability to find common ground with Republicans is paramount. As a mother of 2 sons, I worry about the messages our children are hearing each day with every tweet. Our president talks about grabbing women, discriminates against transgender people, and jails innocent children. I'm running because I'm not afraid to stand up to adversity. The State House of New Hampshire, 400 people, is a pretty big setting of adversity. And I'll fight for the values here of the citizens of New Hampshire. I'm running for Congress because we need more scientists to fight to combat global warming and attack on federal agencies that are meant to protect us. As an environmental scientist, I'll reverse climate change and protect our drinking water, which are the 2 top threats to our national security. I'm running because I have the ability to work across the aisle to bridge divides and get important policy passed, just like here in the state of New Hampshire. I'm the only candidate in this race that's already working across the aisle in an elected body the same size as Congress, with an effective record of getting 15 bills signed into law in the last 2 years. I will also fight for campaign finance reform. This campaign that I'm running is walking the walk, not just talking the talk. I'm not taking any PAC money, regardless of corporate PAC or any PAC money whatsoever, or special interest money. I want the people of New Hampshire to know that I'm fighting for them, not for any other special interest. I'm seeing incredible energy for this campaign. It's people-powered. 90% of our contributions are from in-state. And I have hundreds of volunteers that stand proud with us. Money pays for ads, but tenacity, authenticity, and hard work wins your vote. And I want your vote. Thank you.
And thank you all for being here tonight. I am running because this is the most critical time in our country that I've seen in my lifetime. And as your representative, the first thing I'm going to do is get on the House Armed Services Committee and stand up to this president when he puts our national and economic security at risk and is in cahoots with Putin. I'm going to fight for our health care. I'm going to fight for women's reproductive rights. And I am going to introduce an assault weapons ban and work along with other veterans to make sure that no child in New Hampshire has to be scared of going to school. I am also going to work to overturn Citizens United because we need campaign finance reform, and we need it now. I'm not taking a dime of corporate PAC money in my campaign, and I was the first candidate in this race to pledge not to take a dime from the NRA. But make no mistake, I am putting together the grassroots campaign. We filed to get on the ballot with more than 1,300 signatures from all 80 towns in our district, and I'm putting together what it takes for the Democrats to win. This seat's gone back and forth every 2 years for the past 10 years between the Democrats and the Republicans. Donald Trump and the Republicans would like nothing more than to get their hands back on this seat. You don't see Andy Sanborn backing away. No, he's putting his own money into the race. And I'm the only Democrat that's putting together what it's going to take to beat him. And listen, elections have consequences, folks. Look at the Supreme Court. I'm not going to look women in the eye on November 7th and say, sorry, I didn't work hard enough for you. I'm not going to look veterans in the eye on November 7th and say, sorry, I didn't make the calls. I'm not going to look children in the eye who are worried about going to school because of gun violence. I'm a United States Marine that fought in a war. And I'm going to put together what it takes to make sure the Democrats can win. And that's the kind of congresswoman I'm going to be too.
Going on, you have up to 6 minutes.
All right, that's a lot of time. I don't want to monologue too badly here. But I will tell you a bit more about myself, since I know that very few of you know very much about me at all, who haven't been sitting beside me and talking to me between speeches once in a while. I have some weird skills, which I think are good ones to bring. I'm a gamer. I'm a strategy gamer. I'm in that furthest out class of nerds. And that means I actually have a lot of skills which are incredibly valuable in Congress, though underthought of. I work with diverse groups of people, and I bring them together to accomplish hard to impossible goals. We do it with little to no resources on a regular basis. We come up with solutions to strange problems, and we don't solve anything only one way. No, we have to create multiple solutions for every kind of problem. So when the first one, or the second one, or the third one does not work, we can continue plugging away until we find genuine ways to solve the crises that we face. And I'm familiar with scarce resources, believe me. I'm in a two-income household right now, and we have the type bills that so many of the rest of you face, which is why I feel it's ever more daring of me to refuse to take any money, because it's money that I'm not spending on my student loans very, very carefully. I believe highly in science. I believe in paying attention to what has worked before, what we can use and take from all of our research, and applying that research to solve our problems like the environment, to research the problems that we have not researched in decades, like gun violence. I believe in making sure that our civil rights are everybody's rights. There's no discrimination based on gender, gender identity, race, no defining characteristic which separates one person and gives them different rights and gives them a different view of what due process is than anyone else receives. I believe in compassion, I believe in mercy, I believe in courage. And heavily, I believe in humility. Humility that I can understand I'm taking a lot of time here. And my 6 minutes is more than I truly need to say that I want to work on behalf of all of you to make this state and this country a better place.
Paul Garner is now for 6 minutes.
I also am not sure I need 6 minutes. I want to tell you all how privileged I feel to be here on the stage today. I also feel very privileged to see some politics firsthand. You know, that we can just change the definition of words however we see fit. It's just the training that comes with it. I'm learning what a grassroots campaign is, apparently, not what I thought it was. I'm learning what not taking corporate money means. Fortunately, you can look online and find everything you need to know about who people's donors are, how much money they've raised, and where it's come from. You know, there's a movie I really like, there's a quote in it that says, politicians use the truth to tell lies, and writers use lies to tell the truth. I didn't think I'd see it in the congressional seat race here in New Hampshire. I think they're all great people on this stage, and watching them wordsmith their way into fitting your needs is impressive to me. I also felt, you know, I'll do a rundown of some of the questions we were asked today. I wholeheartedly support Medicare for All. I'm proud of that. I know that most of the country supports it. I think that it's insulting what we're doing within 100 miles of our border here in New Hampshire. It's not an attack on immigrants, it's an attack on civil liberty. It's stop and frisk based on the color of your skin. It's ridiculous. I further feel that a lot of our answers, and what really scares me about this election, is the approach that Secretary Clinton took there 2 years ago. This is an R+2 district that Donald Trump carried. And the approach of the Democratic candidate in 2016 was to gravitate towards the middle and not offend anybody. The people on the stage claim to believe in progressive values. We can show that by saying that, by screaming them from a mountaintop, by telling people that we want to be the party of progress. And then the people in the middle believe in that as well. The programs that we're talking about, we should be proud to talk about. We should be figuring out how to word them so they don't affect anybody. We've always been told who our candidates should be in this country. Choices based on wealth, background, or the ability to raise funds from PACs and corporations. I'm not the candidate who always told us we need to have. I'm not a well-connected, polished politician. I have college debt, a mortgage, healthcare bills, and a young son. I want to know that my child and yours will have a plan that we've taken care of. We're all schools we're proud to send them to. I want an America that reminds us of when we work together as the United States to achieve greatness. A nation not driven apart by what separates us, but bound together by the beliefs we all share. A system of Medicare for all, tuition-free public college and trade schools, a system which makes a full-time job enough to live off and provide for your family. One which takes profitability out of our political, criminal justice, and healthcare systems. We need people carrying a message they believe in, not because the poll tells them to. Officials who know progressive programs will work because this country was built on progress. Representatives who are ready to fight for what they care about because it's what they need to care about for themselves and their friends and family. I'm tired of waiting for these things as we have been for as long as I can remember. It's time for us to realize it's not the message, it's the messengers. And elect one of our own. Thank you.
Senators, you have 6 minutes.
All right, Ray, I'm going to ask a really radical question, a little bit about the law here. So the question at hand in terms of 6 minutes. Can I give more quick, like 2 minutes, we can go back and forth, we can have a little more exciting live discussions, we can talk about access to health care and Medicare for all, and why these folks don't believe in it? Are you mad with that?
They choose not to.
Morris, would you like to do that? I mean, 2 minutes, we can go back and forth and talk about access to health care, Medicare for all, and other issues. Chris, are you able to do that? Sounds good. Okay, I'm not sure why you're moving. This was called democracy. That's okay. So, fundamental issue in this election ultimately is about big money versus Medicare for all. It's real simple. 63% of the American public believes in a Medicare for all healthcare system. 15 members of the United States Senate, 122 members of the House of Representatives, and virtually every person who's running for president in 2020 believes in a Medicare for all healthcare system. Yet, we can't even have debate on the issue. I believe in tuition-free public colleges and universities. As we continue to listen to so many folks, they're profoundly, deeply in debt, and we need to ensure that everybody has the right to go to college and or university if they choose to. We need to have paid family and medical leave. When I hear from so many folks throughout this district, what they say to me is they have profound levels of anxiety about leaving their job in the event that they choose to even have a child and or they get sick. That's simply not who we are as Americans. We have to talk about the issue of big money in politics. We have 3 people in this country who own more wealth than the bottom half of America. We have 47% of folks in this country who have $400 in the event of a medical emergency or simply their car breaks down. That goes up to 75% when you deal with a situation where people have $700 to deal with a similar situation. And as everybody in this stage talked about, we have to end Citizens United. And a 5-4 decision, probably one of the worst decisions ever, the Supreme Court said that corporations are people. I assure you that corporations are not people. Now what I'd like to do, if I could, because I have a little bit of time, I'd like to ask you, can people raise their hand who's in favor of Medicare for all in this audience? All right, well, that's a good sign. That's why you have to understand that we have 8 out of 11 of these folks who believe in Medicare for all. But the other 3 choose to use the word access for healthcare. So I want you guys to consistently hear about it. We have a scenario, and again, have it more talked about actually doesn't have what's called corporate PACs. But she doesn't say that she doesn't take lots and lots of money from corporations. So if you go to your FEC, you will find that situation. The other issue that is so extraordinarily important to address is what is going on in our immigration system. As everybody has talked about, we have a president who thinks it's absolutely fine to take babies out of their mother and father's arms. We have a president who will throw children in actual cages. So how do we take this on? As we know, this is a +2 district. You need to have a strong person that believes in a Medicare for all healthcare system, who believes in a $15 minimum wage, who believes we need to get corporations out of the business of politics. We need to say to insurance companies that we don't need you anymore. 1/3 of the cost of medical care goes to insurance companies. We need to get rid of that. So again, the fundamental thing you guys have to ask yourself overall is you have 2 candidates in this race who are spending $2.2 million in terms of in this election. It's probably going to go up and up and up. So you have to ask the question in terms of whether you believe in the average person or you believe in corporations. Thank you very much.
Councilor, you have up to 5 minutes.
So I prepared 2 minutes, so a lot of this will sound stream of consciousness like something from James Joyce. So I want to start by saying that tomorrow night I'm having my 3rd virtual town hall on Facebook Live. It's kind of a cool event. You sit in front of your computer and you're broadcasting out to the world. Anyone who wants to can ask me questions. They'll pop up on my computer screen and I'll answer them, or you can email the campaign. Evan, who's standing back there holding up the camera wearing a striped shirt, he's going to have a handout for y'all that gives you all the information. And the topic of this week's virtual town hall is going to be capitalism, crime, combat, and carpetbaggers. And I want to talk to you a little bit about capitalism. You rarely hear anybody actually critiquing capitalism anymore, right? We've all just sort of accepted that this is the way the system is going to be, and we want to fight at the edges and here and there for these different social safety net programs. But no one ever really talks about getting at the heart of capitalism. And tomorrow night, when I have more time, I get to live my dream of being a college professor. And I'm going to talk about market failure and what that means, in particular in terms of how we provide healthcare in this country. We're going to talk about the tendency towards monopoly, and how that affects the way your money is distributed, and how that affects banks having access to your entire life. And I'm going to talk about the corrupting power of greed. And these things, when Adam Smith came out with his book many centuries ago, folks, they knew these things were going to happen. And they knew that this system was not perfect. And they certainly knew that at best it was amoral, and at worst it is immoral. And I think we've totally reached the point now where American-style capitalism is an immoral system. So please join me tomorrow night and we'll talk a little bit more about this. So, folks, if you didn't know it already, I'm here to tell you that the Democratic establishment in D.C. and New Hampshire is made up almost entirely of corporate Democrats and Rockefeller Republicans. Now, the establishment isn't you and me, right? The establishment is party hacks, talking heads, bagmen, money grubbers, and those who benefit personally and financially from the campaign industrial complex. And there are clearly establishment candidates in this race, right? We got Chris Pappas from the Concord establishment and Illinois Morris Sullivan from the DC establishment. And what do these two have in common? They oppose Medicare for all, they oppose increased prudential regulations on Wall Street, they oppose ending the wars, and they oppose impeachment of Donald Trump. Those 4 positions are gospel among actual Democratic voters. They're 4 positions which I support. So why would the establishment favor them over an FDR liberal like me? Is the establishment afraid that I'm going to lose the general election? Or are they afraid that I'm going to win? Because when I win, the party's over for the fat cats and the greedy heads. When I win, Jamie Dimon is going to know that I'm in his life. I'm literally going to send him a letter saying, I'm in your life, Jamie. What that means is we're going to restore Glass-Steagall. We're going to separate the investment banks from the commercial banks. We're going to overturn the Bank Lobbyist Act, which our 2 senators voted for. And not only are we going to overturn the Bank Lobbyist Act, we're going to increase prudential regulation on banks to protect your money, protect your way of life. Because if you don't have economic security, you have nothing. And so these special interests we're talking about, they fund the Republican establishment and the Democratic establishment. And this is what oligarchy looks like, folks. This is the few, the rule of few, to the detriment of the many. And guess what, folks? You're the many. Okay? You're the many. And it's time to stand up, unite, fight, and topple this perversion of our democracy. And I want you to join me in this struggle. and vote for me, and you can nominate a true liberal Democrat in the tradition of FDR, Harry S. Truman, JFK, and LBJ. And trust me, my friends, you have nothing to lose but your chains. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Rockingham Democrats. It's great to be here. I want to take a little of time to thank Larry Drake. Can we give Larry a hand? I first met Larry when I was in Longfellow, and him and Joan volunteered on the campaign. They are what you call super volunteers, and he just never stopped. So, Larry, thank you for everything that you do. I thought I was running for Congress against Larry at first because he was everywhere I was. Somebody else I see everywhere is Senator Martha Fuller Clark. Give her a round of applause and her leadership here in the state has been tremendous. I want to thank everybody here. We are the government, and you guys came here tonight and showed us that you are the best part of this government. And it means a lot to me to see that. Now, a lot of people don't believe in government anymore because all they see is a crumbling bridge, a failing school, and a higher tax bill. And that's because until we start not reading polls but changing polls as Democrats, that's all we're going to get. But we got to get a little bit more. And we're not, unfortunately, this is not my favorite part of the campaign trail, sitting up in here and trying to condense an answer to a minute to convince you to vote for me. Because I don't get to listen to you. I don't get to ask you what your biggest issue is and what your biggest pain point and how I can make your life better down in Congress. Because at the end of the day, that's what we're fighting for. We're fighting to be your representative. We're fighting to represent you. And you have to ask yourself, who is going to represent us best down in Washington? And I believe that there is nobody who's going to work harder for you than me. I believe that. But unfortunately, not everybody does. Some people say, hey, he's a great candidate for the future. And if you believe that, I am here to tell you, you are absolutely right. It's not my time. It's our time, and the future is now. A future where getting sick does not make you go bankrupt. A future where we're teaching our children how to code and how to build and how to dream again, and not where to hide in case of an active shooter. A future where we have a functioning government. A government that meets the challenge of climate change and automation head on. But in order to build that future, I need your voice. That's why we're traveling around to every city in this district. We're talking to as many people as we can. We are knocking on your door, looking to find out how we can help you. Because only when we bring our voices together and down to Washington can we start to build the country that we deserve as Americans. Only then will we be proud to call this country America and work for it every single day. Thank you very much. I am Daniel McCaffrey, and I am running for Congress. Thank you.
Mackenzie, 4 minutes. Thank you. First of all, I'm from an Italian heritage, so it's very difficult to hold anything. You got to use your hands most of the time. But let me introduce myself to those of you who may not know me. I come off as kind of a gruff labor guy at times. I was a firefighter for 27 years. I have 2 children, 2 boys, 2 grandchildren. I spent my first couple of years in the fire department fighting for reduced hours for firefighters. And in 1978, I led a strike along with Ron Phillips, where we took to the streets for more than 2 weeks and fought like hell to make sure firefighters had fewer hours, and today firefighters work about 4 hours less, 4 years less in the fire service. I fought for healthcare at the bargaining table because I had a sick son. I had a son that was born with biliary atresia. 12 years later, he had a liver transplant. I fought each and every time at the bargaining table to make sure that we were just one step ahead of the insurance companies. When my son had liver transplant, nobody wanted to pay for it. But we had great health care. And what I learned then is not everybody has great health care. But we did. And a few years ago, great health care meant a lot to me. I came down with cancer. And the kind of cancer that many firefighters get. And but for the grace of God, I would have probably been in a very different place today. I received a stem cell transplant about 7 years ago, And here I am, running for Congress in the United States, again, because I have health care, and decent health care, and good health care. And not everybody has that. The other thing that is in my bones and has been since I was very young is the idea that I have a responsibility to the people in this world. I took that into the fire service, and I spent 25 years as the president of the largest labor organization in the state of New Hampshire, the AFL-CIO. And I represented workers in hundreds of hearings in the state legislature and built this book that you see in front of you. But while I was there, I also stood for people against discrimination. I was the one that stood up. I was one of the first, if not the first speaker, that stood up and testified in favor of gay marriage. I was one of the first people that defended the rights of immigrant workers in the Capitol. I was one of the people who passed health care reforms for firefighters, guaranteeing them health care when they retired, and passed legislative reforms that gave them good pensions. Now let me say, not everybody has this opportunity. But in this country today, we have the opportunity to control our future. We know right now that there are people who have grabbed this government and are running away with it. And all of us that are in this room today and in rooms like this all over New Hampshire and the country know one thing. We know what we want. We know how we want to shape the world in which we live. And as a leader who has been leading organizations for more than 40 years, what I bring to this fight is my experience, my knowledge, my capacity, and the capacity to win, which I have done over and over and over again. I offer that to you. And I will make sure that the people of the United States will know that New Hampshire is in the House when we get to Washington, D.C. Thank you.
Mary Andrews, you have up to 4 minutes.
Thank you again, Ray and Larry, and for everyone for being out here tonight. A writer of the Huffington Post once called our office the hardest working. Let me tell you, we earned it. And I promise to keep that tradition of hard work and service alive as your next member of Congress. We're a progressive Dem office, but I want to share with you that earlier this year, an independent group did an analysis of all the members of Congress to see who was the most bipartisan. We came out on top. I have, and I will, reach across the aisle to make progress on all of the issues that we care about. I also take great pride in the work I've done for constituent services. This year, our office actually won an award for exemplary constituent services. We take great pride in treating everyone who walks through our door or calls our office with dignity and respect, and we advocate for them to the best of our ability to the federal government. This is a tough district. It's 25% registered Dem, 35% Republican, and the rest are undeclared. Carol and I won this district in 2016, and Trump won this district in 2016. We cannot take this general election for granted, but it's winnable. Carol and I have stood on the campaign battleground, and we've won. We were the first Dem to hold this seat in close to 30 years, and the work that we've done over the past 12 years have earned us the respect, trust, and support of the people of this district. I was in Washington in 2007 when Dems won the majority for the first time in 12 years. We had an aggressive legislative agenda, and it was a lot. I am cautiously optimistic that we'll win this November. It could be by one seat, it could be by this seat. And we will need an even more aggressive legislative agenda to undo the harm that's been done by this administration and by this Republican-led majority. New Hampshire, our state, and our country will be well served by someone who knows all the issues, has no learning curve. I will have an experienced team in place on day one, and I can hit the ground running to serve all of you. I have the personal relationships in every town and community in this district and in Congress on both sides of the aisle to get right to work. I pledge to uphold my moral obligation to speak the truth, show courage, and stand up to behavior that insults and diminishes and threatens our democracy. I really have the experience, the enthusiasm, and the courage to do this job. I promise to be a tireless advocate for the people of this district, and if you do give me the privilege of serving you, you have my commitment that I will work each and every day for the rest of us. I will never forget that public office is a public trust. I hope that afterwards you'll find me or a member of my team and join us, because this is a grassroots, people-powered campaign. We are the people we've been waiting for, and we need your help to get it done. So thank you, and I hope to earn your support and your vote on primary day, September 11th. Thank you.
The past 2 years have been marked by one shameless scandal after another. Every night I go to bed thinking, it can't possibly get any worse. And then I wake up in the morning and I make the mistake of turning on the news. And guess what? It got worse. Every day it gets worse. From equivocating on white supremacy to Muslim bans, rolling back climate protections, massive tax cuts for the ultra-rich, corruption run amok. A woman's right to choose in jeopardy, babies locked in cages. A president and an administration shamelessly mocks our values, institutions, and the rule of law. Fundamental to our Constitution is the concept of checks and balances. Unfortunately, Congress has abandoned its constitutional mandate and left us with an administration that is unchecked and unbalanced. It's time to stand up to this administration. We need courage in Congress. We need leadership. We need a Congress that is not bought and paid for by special interests or wealthy donors. From the beginning of this race, I pledge never to take a time of corporate PACs or lobbyist monies, because Congress should be about service to voters, not donors. Whether it was my role as Stratford County Attorney, Chair of the Somersworth School Board, Mayor of Somersworth, mentor to Palestinian public defenders in the West Bank, or standing for the water protectors in Standing Rock, North Dakota, I've spent my life fighting for people who most need it. Let's bring the fight to Washington, and together we'll fight for Medicare for all, abolishing ICE, eliminating fossil fuel subsidies, overturning Citizens United, ending the NRA's grip on Congress, raising the minimum wage, ending private prisons, and protecting women's rights. Let me talk about an issue that's only been mentioned once and nobody's really got into it. That's impeachment. If you believe, as I do, that Donald Trump represents the most fundamental threat to the integrity of American democracy, then impeachment is not a political or strategic issue. It is a moral imperative. The questions that pundits and partisans like to obsess over. Will impeachment hurt our electoral wins? Will Mike Pence be worse? These questions miss the point. As a prosecutor who has overseen over 10,000 felony prosecutions, I can tell you that there is more evidence in the public record alone to show that Donald Trump is a threat to our democracy. A point made all the more urgent after his disgraceful display in Helsinki. Supporting impeachment is not a political question, it's a moral one. And if we value the integrity of our American democracy, we need leaders with political courage and leadership to take a stand. I would request a position on the Judiciary Committee so that I can lead the way on impeachment proceedings. This is the imperative of our time. This man is doing great damage to our country that will take decades to rectify. I need your support and your help. My name is Lincoln Soldati, and I'm running for Congress, and I hope to earn your vote. Thank you very much.
directed to Declan. If you could come up and explain it to me, because I'm not sure I read it correct. It reads the way you meant it to read. And if it's different than what I think it says, we'll do it next week. Speaking of next week, we're all back together next Thursday night in the city of the Lakes, Laconia. Hope to see you all. Let's give all 11 a big round of applause.